Welcome to the finale. I feel like I need to pop a champagne bottle or something. I feel like celebrating. It's finally over. I kid. It actually ends on somewhat of a high note. This episode feels like Halo 5. Let me explain. There are really cool moments in this episode, but they're only tied together by mind-numbing stupidity. It also has some major cringe and a few bad one-liners, and a small sprinkling of remember berries, just for the taste. If you're looking for action with your brain turned off, it's hell of a good time. If you analyze the motivation and merit of each decision, you will feel like you're taking crazy pills. Overall, I would grade it a C+. Just a hair above passing, but much improved from the previous episodes. Now I'm going to get much more in depth, so this is your spoiler warning. First, the broad strokes. Guilty Spark voice. I'm not a huge fan of it. It's not a wrong choice. It doesn't fit a monitor for me. Guilty Spark had much more of a distorted voice. It almost had a mechanical quality to it from the games. This voice is a lot deeper, and the lines are delivered in a slower pace. His voice almost feels somber. It almost feels like they tried to turn Piglet into Eeyore. I think it might grow on me as time goes on. Jimmy still is constantly taking off his helmet, even on foreign planets or in alien installations. I feel like I'm a safety guy on a construction site. Instead of yelling at brain-damaged tradesmen, I'm yelling at brain-damaged Spartans. By some of the decisions made by these Spartans? Yes, in fact, they are very brain-damaged. The Flood are a really good enemy, and it was well done in this series. It's an alternate version of the games, but it's still just as creepy. The scenes with the Flood, you can just feel the horror ambiance ooze out of the screen. This episode feels rushed, like they crammed 2 episodes worth of plot in this episode. You get so many stupid choices made by characters, just to speed up the story between the big scenes. So much of Kessler's story was wasted screen time. You really feel it now in the finale. I have to give credit where credit is due. The finale is much improved from the previous season. Granted, it couldn't get much worse than Jimmy is Cortana's meat puppet. Let's now discuss the storylines. I'll go from what I believe to be the weakest to the best. Let's start off with Parangosky with Halsey and Miranda Keyes aboard the command ship. Most of this arc boils down to Parangosky trying to guilt trip Jimmy into going to the ring first, or the dipshit biologist releasing the Flood, or Miranda trying to find out what the Flood is. First things first, as much as it hurts me because I'm not a fan of Parangosky at all as a character, she is right tactically. Jimmy should go to the ring first. The only reason Jimmy saves the Spartans is so they don't set up the MacGuffin device. So in other words, he goes for the sake of the plot. In regards to the dipshit biologist, can we talk about the UNSC's safety procedures when handling alien artifacts? Why do they always feel the need to touch them? You would think they would have learned their lesson after Jimmy with the touchstone. When Janine releases the Flood, the music that happens is fucking hilarious. It's totally out of pace with the show, but it is hilarious nonetheless. Also, seeing the Flood through that microscope was a really cool addition. Halsey was a passenger for most of this episode. The moment between her and Jimmy when he's going after Cortana, and she tells him the best location to breach, was the high point of this arc in this episode. The Flood taking over the control room was really well done though. I might be Team Flood after seeing them about to take out Parangosky. But I think I know where this is going in Season 3. The Flood are going to crash this ship into the Halo. It does 2 things. It will serve as a replacement for the pill bottom, but it will also get Miranda and Popsicle Halsey onto the ring. The Kessler arc wasn't worth the screen time overall, but in this episode it was rather quite good until the very end. We'll get to that. It gave me a horror-esque feeling to it in regards to the Flood. When Kessler and his mom were present right beside Ackerson, that was a bit too convenient for my taste. But when the people that are surrounding themselves start turning into the Flood, oh, it is extremely gripping. That's good TV. I don't care who you are. And the way Ackerson saves them was natural. Well, as natural as shooting Flood is going to get. Kwan in this arc feels very unnecessary. She's just a tag along. She doesn't add anything. It feels like a waste of screen time. When they're finally escaping after Soren and Kwan release his family and begrudgingly releasing Ackerson, the tension was so gripping. And I was kind of hoping only Sarah and Ackerson were going to make it out with Kessler. Then my optimism was dashed by this protector/chosen one bullshit. It rears its ugly head at the worst possible time. So, the Flood have Kwan dead to rights. There's fucking 10 or 20 of them. But then, of course, Space Witch. That's when this arc lost all tension. It was really a great arc until the very end. And they pissed it away. Now, what I feel is the best arc, but also has the biggest what the fuck moments in it. The Spartan 3s, Kai, Jimmy, and Mackie storylines, they all kind of converge in this episode, so they're counting them as one arc. To start off with, the Spartan 3s are useless. Who knew? If you took a bunch of Marines, threw them in VR Halo for a weekend, that they would just be cannon fodder with really fancy armor. The actual Assault of the Covenant ship was really cool, but where are the grunts, hunters, brutes, anything other than elites with energy swords? We know elites with swords are cool, but variety is the spice of life, boys. It gets boring seeing so many. I never thought I'd say that. Elites with energy swords are now boring. Also, before the fight starts, the hulls in this ship are so ominous. But if you had a little purple and pink hues in these hulls, oh, that would add a lot to the atmosphere. I know they're going for the Spartan 3s being the specialized infiltration unit. I don't buy it. It all feels off, including the callouts. When Kai says, check that corner, it's like they don't know how to do their own job. Whereas if she says, hey Spartans, check your corners, it's more reminding of their training. At this point, I'm sick of Perez, another character that adds nothing. She got shot, and I got hopeful the Covenant were going to finish the job. But we aren't that lucky. Her grabbing those 2 needlers was really cool though. When Jimmy enters in the fray to save all their asses, fighting in the mist, this show felt like Halo. And it was very well done from a choreography standpoint. After Chief saves the Spartan red shirts, Kai goes out with a bang. A really cool death, ruined by a cringe line. Really? This is gonna hurt? That's the best these dipshits can come up with? Just off the top of my head, I got a couple I thought would be cooler. For Vanek. For Reach. Or call back to the last game, Infinite. Protect humanity, no matter the cost. Such a ruined moment. But the biggest what the fuck moment in this episode is when Jimmy boards Mackie's ship. It's gonna crash. And he finds out she destroyed Cortana's hockey puck. So, like any reasonable person, he punches the console. Then voila, space magic happens. And then his suit absorbs Cortana's DNA, apparently. Then the ship crashes, and I have no idea how he survives, but he does. Also, conveniently, he crashes next door to the alien installation where he needs to go. So we can have this Arbiter versus Jimmy fight. It's another well done fight. I could have done without the Mackie reaction shots. It makes it feel like one of those shitty reaction YouTube shorts. We've all seen them. Imagine my horror when I realized after he killed the Arbiter that Mackie is the Arbiter now. Then makes the worst line this show has ever come up with. I am a demon too. Fucking kill me now. Master Chief gets called this because he proves himself in battle. It's also a mocking title given to him after the destruction of the first ring. What the hell? Well, on this down note, I'll just give my final thoughts and where I think season 3 is going. I like parts of this episode. That's what burns my ass. But it suffers for too much plot in one episode. So it leads to a lot of convenience to move the plot along faster. The script is fairly mid, the action was good, and the CGI was hit or miss. Overall, C+. Better than most of the season, if I'm honest. For season 3, what I think is going to happen. I think that the Flood, or Parangoski, is going to crash this command ship onto the Halo. Release the Flood onto the Halo, as well as Miranda and Popsicle Halsey. They link up with Jimmy. Jimmy and the Arbiter Mackie meet up with Gravemind. It sets up a fight with a Prophet that lands his ship on Halo. Then Jimmy and the new Super Friends use the human command ship to blow up the ring and escape the explosion using Prophet's ship, and then pick up Kai on the way out. And it turns out Kai's still alive. Anyways, those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments down below. Discourse is welcomed. What do you think is coming next season? Please like and subscribe. Y'all have a great day. God bless.